Hello and welcome back! Today we have a special bonus episode because it's my birthday! We're going back to puzzle number 66 in the Fiendish Logic Puzzle book from Puzzle Baron and Stephen P. Ryder. I've saved this one not because I like scuba diving, in fact I never have and don't think I will, but because, as you can see, our scuba divers here, our 7 different customers and 7 different guides in 7 different locations, are leaving on 7 different days this week, including my birthday. So, I saved this one as a special upload, and we're gonna do it right now, starting from clue number 1. Mrs. Blake will dive sometime after Mr. Ayers. Blake sometime after Ayers. Other way around. Number 2, the customer headed to Little Reef will dive 5 days before Lynn's client. Okay, so Lynn is not going to Little Reef. Lynn. 5 days before. So if it's the first one, then the earliest Lynn can be is 5 days after that, all the way to the 18th. And if Lynn is the last one, the earliest would be is 5 days before that, the 14th. And speaking of Little Reef, that's either Nadine or Inez. Number 4, of Mr. Erickson and the client going to Queens Beach. One will dive on the 15th. The other has hired Muriel as a guide. So, Mr. Erickson is not going to Queens Bench, Queens Bench. And Muriel will not dive on the 15th. Mrs. Chang will dive sometime before the customer going out with Nadine. Before Nadine. And that, of course, means she can't have Nadine as her guide. Number 6, the diver headed to Manta Bay will dive 2 days after Mr. Gallegos, who hasn't hired Rachel as his guide. So Mr. Gallegos is not with Rachel. And then Manta Bay is 2 days after Mr. Gallegos. Number 7, of the customer headed to Nemo's Ridge and Mrs. Blake. So Mrs. Blake is not going to Nemo's Ridge. One will dive on the 15th. The other will go with Zachary. Okay, that's interesting because our other of blank and blank clue. I should have a name for them. That kind of clue. We also have July 15th here in clue number 4. So here it's Mr. Erickson in Queen's Bench. Here the 15th has to be Nemo's Ridge or Inez. Oh wait, I'm looking at a whole other one. A whole other one with July 15th. Here it's Nemo Ridge or Mrs. Blake. And like I said, we're going to come up on a whole nother one with July 15th. So let's make a list for July 15th. I don't know why I wrote July down. We all know it's days in July. So first off, July 15th is either Mr. Erickson or Queen's Bench. Or it's Mrs. Blake or Nemo's Ridge. All right, so this tells us that 15th has to be either Mrs. Blake or Mr. Erickson and Queen's Bench or what's the other one? Nemo's Ridge. Because, let's say, if it was Mr. Erickson here, then it couldn't be Mrs. Blake here, so it'd have to be Nemo's Ridge. And if it was Nemo's Ridge, it couldn't be Queen's Bench, so it'd have to be Mr. Erickson. So the 15th must be Mr. Erickson or Mrs. Blake. If I said Mrs. Balake, would that be like done to death, or would it be funny? And then Mr. Galagos is 2 days before Manta Bay, so... Good. Oh, and same for Queen's Bench and Nemo's Ridge for the 15th. Oh, Manta Bay, yeah, Queen's Bench or Nemo's Ridge, and then Manta Bay is 2 days before Mr. Galagos. And what the hey, we'll skip number 8 and go right to number 9. But don't let me forget number 8. Of the diver headed to Nemo's Ridge and the customer going with Inez, one will dive on the 15th, the other is Mr. Ayers. Alright, so... let's see. What else do we know about the 15th? A lot. Okay. So the 15th has to be... it can't be Zachary, Muriel, or Lynn. Okay. So here we also have that the diver on the 15th could be going to Nemo's Ridge, which would mean that it would be Mr. Erickson. Or if it's going to Queen's Bench, that would mean it's Inez, and it's Mrs. Blake. So, I mean, I'm guessing that because we've seen Nemo's Ridge twice with the July 15th, it probably is what we're looking for. Skip pardon. But I guess technically the July 15th could still be Inez, and it could just be Mr. Eric, could be Mrs. Blake and Queen's Bench. So let's just keep that in mind. Mark off Inez for Nemo's Ridge. And the 15th for Mr. Ayers we already have. As a matter of fact, Inez can only be Mr. Ayers or anyone who can go on the 15th. So, Ayers, Blake, or Erickson. And the same for Nemo's Ridge, correct? Not even that. Nemo's Ridge has to be the 15th or Mr. Ayers. If Nemo's Ridge is the 15th, it would have to be Mr. Erickson. So, Erickson or Ayers. Right? Yes. Okay. Now back to number 8. Speaking of Mr. Ayers, he is either the diver going out on the 13th or headed to Roe Island. Okay, so the 13th is not Roe Island. Okay. Alright. So Mr. Ayers can go to Roe Island or any place that could leave on the 13th. So not Manta Bay. And then I guess we really shouldn't have skipped this one, because let's see, Mr. Ayers is either the 13th or Roe Island. So I guess he could be Nemo's Ridge if Nemo's Ridge left on the 13th. Oh, okay. Alright, let's move on. We'll keep it in mind. Alright, oh, and speaking of Roe Island will dive 1 day after Aura's client. 1 day after. Okay. Aura. Oh, and Mr. Ayers has to be either the 13th or any day Roe Island can be. So, oh, not the 15th. We already had that. Good. And then Roe Island is not Aura. Number 11. The dive at Ovid's Cove will be on either the 13th or the 17th. Oh, interesting. We're back to Nemo's Ridge for number 12. The Nemo's Ridge dive is one day after the one for Mrs. Farrell, which is one day after Mrs. Chang. So let's write out the relationships. So first we have Miss Chang, and one day after her is Mrs. Farrell, and one day after her is Nemo's Ridge. Except Miss Chang is first. Mrs. Farrell goes here. Good. And then Nemo's Ridge, one day after Miss Farrell. And there we go. Lovely. All right. Okay, let's start back at the beginning. Mrs. Blake will dive sometime after Mr. Ayers. Okay. The customer headed to Little Reef will dive 5 days before Lynn. Okay. Either Nadine or Inez is scheduled at Little Reef. Inez has to be the 15th or Mr. Ayers. Okay. Inez, speaking of Inez, she has to either be the dive on the 15th or any day Mr. Ayers could dive. So, not the 19th. And Mr. Ayers. Okay. Number 4 is Mr. Erickson and the client going to Queen's Bench. One will dive on the 15th, the other has hired Muriel as a guide. Mr. Erickson. Okay, Mrs. Chang will dive sometime before Nadine. Ah, well, still good. Okay, sometime before Nadine. So that's still good, no help yet. Manta Bay will dive 2 days after Mr. Galagos. Okay, so... no good. Okay, still good. If I can get rid of this one or this one, that'd be helpful. Okay. So Mrs. Blake must either go with Zachary or anyone who could go on the 15th. So not Lynn or Muriel. Right? Same for Nemo's Ridge. Must be Zachary or anyone who can leave on the 15th. Mr. Galago can't be Nemo's Ridge. Oh, we already knew that. What a shame, because it lines up so well. Mrs. Chang can't be Lin. Just doesn't line up. Neither can Mr. Galagos. Neither can Ovid's Cove. Oh, how about this? Let's write down another relationship. Roe Island is one day after Aura's client. That means that Miss Farrell is not with Aura. In fact, Roe Island is one day after Aura. Okay, Mr. Ayers is either going out on the 13th or going to Roe Island. So he can go to Roe Island or any place. Oh, Mr. Ayers can go to Roe Island or any place that dives on the 13th. So not Manta Bay, not Nemo's Ridge, because Nemo's Ridge is one day after Mrs. Farrell, so it can't be the first day. So if Mr. Ayers cannot be Nemo's Ridge, then he must be the one going with Inez. And that means Nemo's Ridge is the elusive July 15th. Lovely. So if July 15th is Nemo's Ridge, that means that Mrs. Blake is going with Zachary. Zachary, which means she can't be July 15th because she can't be Nemo's Ridge. So Mr. Erickson is Nemo's Ridge. And the Queen's Bench is Muriel. Sorry. Hey. Lovely. You know, I'd love to use this opportunity to talk about some of the other birthdays this week. Funnily enough, I don't think I have anything for July 15th. But since my birthday is this week, I don't believe in, like, horoscopes or astrology or anything like that, but because this is my birthday week, I do know about some people who were born this week. For example, the 14th is Bastille Day in France, and my favorite band is Bastille, which is named that because the lead singer Dan Smith was born on the 14th of July, on Bastille Day. And that's funny enough, that's my favorite band, but as a coincidence, that's also the day that the lead singer of Imagine Dragons, it's his birthday too, also July 14th. And his name is also Dan. So, sorry I don't have anything for the 15th, but that's a fun fact about July 14th. Okay, so Muriel is Queen's Bench. Let's line them up. Already done. Erickson is Nemo's Ridge. Okay, still more. Okay. Okay. Aha! Nemo's Ridge is one day after Miss Farrell, who is one day after Mrs. Chang. Alright. Now, July 13th is the birthday of Tom Kenny, the master of voice acting, including, most famously, in my opinion, as SpongeBob. But, if you look at SpongeBob's driver's license in, when he has it in some episodes in Dreams, SpongeBob's birthday is listed as July 14th, and the show actually started airing on July 17th. That's my birthday. Now, asterisk, and I always have to explain this. That's not the day it premiered after the Kids' Choice Awards. That was May 1st, but it didn't start running in earnest until July 17th of that year. Okay. Mrs. Blake is sometime after Mr. Ayers. Okay, Mrs. Chang will dive sometime before Nadine. So I think she's the first one, so I think that's when it's pretty much done. Okay, Manta Bay is 2 days after Mr. Galagos. Okay, good. Wait. Good. Manta Bay. You think there's a lot of manta rays at Manta Bay? Mrs. Chang, happy Manta Bay. I don't think I'd go scuba diving. I actually think one of my relatives may have, had a scuba diving incident. But I'm currently planning a snorkeling trip to swim with manatees, not manta rays. Of course, by the time this video comes out, this will have happened long, long ago. Pretty much as far away from my birthday as you could get, like my half birthday. Give or take a few days. Sorry I'm so chatty tonight. It's because it's my birthday special. Which I'm filming, 7 months in advance? Okay, Manta Bay. Oh, we just did that. Aha! Mr. Ayers is not going out on the 13th, so he must be going to Rhode Island. And he is working with Inez, so Inez is going to Rhode Island. I share a birthday with David Hasselhoff. Speaking of all the SpongeBob connections, because he was in the SpongeBob movie. Very good, actually. I'm going to tighten that up. Ovid's Cove. Okay, good. Okay, oh, either Nadine or Inez is scheduled to dive at Little Reef. Inez is scheduled at Rhode Island, so it must be Nadine. Nadine is going to Little Reef. And Nadine... Nadine only overlaps with Little Reef in one place. So Little Reef is here, Nadine is there, and Lynn is 5 days after. That one. Oh, Rhode Island will dive 1 day after Aura's client, and that is Nadine, correct? No, Inez, I mean. Inez. Inez is 1 day before, 1 day after Aura. Farrell's Queen's Bench. Oh, we actually have a complete set with Farrell, Nadine, and Little Reef, right? Let's fill that in, actually. July 14th, Bastille Day, is Mrs. Farrell, who is traveling with Nadine to dive Little Reef. All right, that leaves Lynn to be Mr. Drake. Right here. And then Lynn, we don't know who that is quite yet, but we will. You know, I just did a production of Annie, the musical, and I noticed that there's a Miss Farrell and a Mr. Drake. Those are also characters in Annie. Well, I don't think she's a Mrs. Doesn't matter. Maybe spelled differently. Okay, Ovid's Cove. No, that should be taken care of already. Mrs. Blake is before Mr. Ayers. After Mr. Ayers. Right? Mr. Blake, okay. So the 18th can only be Mrs. Blake or Mr. Ayers, and Mrs. Blake has to be after Mr. Ayers, so Mr. Ayers can't be here if there's nothing after that. So Mrs. Blake must be here. We have our Mrs. Blake, and she is Zachary. Lovely. Not Roe Island. Right. Queen's Bench, Ovid's Cove, or Portia Reef. Not even Ovid's Cove. Lovely. And what was Roe Island again? It was Mr. Ayers. Okay, so that's good. And then a day before Aura. Day after Aura. All right. And you know what that means, or maybe you don't. Now, Aura, July 16th can only be Aura or Inez, because Inez, aka Roe Island, is one day after Aura. So Aura could be here and Inez could be the 16th, or Inez could be here and Aura could be the 16th. But if anything else took that slot, the only other option is that Aura would be here and Inez would be here, and they wouldn't be one day apart. Therefore, the 16th can only be Aura or Inez. Okay. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have a birthday on the 16th, but I think I only know that July 16th is the birthday of Muppeteer Dave Goles, the longest-running Muppeteer, who, as of this recording, knock on wood, is still at it as Gonzo and other characters like Bunsen. He's my favorite of the Muppeteers. Gonzo's my favorite Muppet. Manta Bay. No. Queen's bench needs to be tidied up. Good. Okay, now we have two that can only be the 13th or the 17th. So no one else can take those slots. And doing that gives us our Roe Island, which gives us our Inez, which gives us our Aura. Good. Mr. Ayers. That's a complete set. So the 16th is Mr. Ayers, who's led by Inez, to Roe Island. All right, and finally, on my birthday, the 17th, Mr. Galagos is our diver. And let's see, who's he with? Well, we can't put it in the... Well, we could, but he is... 2 days before Manta Bay. So our last one is Manta Bay. That gives us our Portia Reef, or Porita Reef, which is Zachary, who is Mrs. Blake. That makes a full set. That gives us Manta Bay here. Okay. So the 19th is Manta Bay, where Mr. Drake dives with Lynn. And the 18th is Mrs. Blake, who dives with Zachary in Porita Reef. Okay. Got that actually. Okay, Ovid's Cove is either the 13th or the... Okay, we got that. Save for Queen's Bench. Well, that's good. Mrs. Blake is after Mr. Ayers. Manta Bay is 2 days after Mr. Galagos, who hasn't hired Rachel. So Rachel's not here. She's here. And that means Muriel is here. And Muriel is Queen's Bench. That means Rachel has to be Ovid's Cove. And that should be everything. So on the 13th, we have Miss Chang diving with Rachel at Ovid's Cove. Let me write that better. 15th is Mr. Erickson with with Aura and Nemo's Ridge. Now that I look at it this way, I feel like the first time I did this book, I didn't get this one. I don't know why. Mr. Ayers on the 16th. On my birthday, the 17th, Mr. Galagos. Left with Muriel. Let's go to Queen's Bench. Because I'm the birthday queen, and I sit on a bench. And the rest I already did. So let's check. Mrs. Blake and Mr. Drake, it rhymes. Let's check our answers. Puzzle number 66. I'm not used to not going to the very back of the book, because we're so deep in. Okay, scuba diving. I see Mrs. Chang, Mrs. Farrell, Mr. Erickson, Mr. Ayers, Mr. Galagos, Mrs. Blake, and Mr. Drake. Good. Then we have Rachel, Nadine, Aura, Inez, Muriel, Zachary, Lynn. Good. Ovid's Cove, Little Reef, Nemo's Ridge, Roe Island, Queen's Bench, Porita Reef, and Manta Bay. We got it. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to quickly clean up the board. I hope you enjoyed the extra video this week. Or maybe you didn't because I never shut up. Either way, if you made it this far, thank you. There's a small chance this isn't airing on my birthday. Probably it is. But, you know, if anyone requested this video, and of course at this point it's too late if you're hearing this, but if someone did request this video because they're having trouble with this puzzle, I'd be happy to post it early. That goes for any puzzle in this book. If you're having trouble with anything, let me know. I'll get a video out as soon as possible. I'd love to help. And it's probably already filmed, so it's no trouble. Even if it does spoil a birthday video, it's all about the fans. Voila! Thanks for watching.